Imagine an island where history, tradition, and taboo collide in one of the most enigmatic places on Earth, Okinoshima. A small, secluded island off the coast of Fukuoka Prefecture, Japan, is home to ancient beliefs that date back over 1,000 years. This tiny landmass, which is part of Japan's UNESCO World Heritage Sites, holds an incredible spiritual significance to those who adhere to Shintoism, Japan's indigenous religion. But there is a catch: women are strictly prohibited from setting foot on this island. While most places on the World Heritage list are open to tourists, Okinoshima is a notable exception, and its traditions surrounding exclusion and secrecy have sparked intrigue and confusion. Okinoshima is a sacred place. According to Shinto beliefs, the island is believed to be inhabited by a kami, a divine spirit or deity. It has long been an important center of Shinto worship, with evidence of ritual offerings made by seafarers dating back over 1,000 years. The island's history is rich with artifacts, including beads, gold rings, and Persian glass shards, all revealing the extent of the trade connections and cultural exchanges that Japan had during ancient times. These relics not only represent Japan's rich religious and trade history, but they also highlight the island's long-standing mystical significance. But why are women banned from visiting Okinoshima? This is a question that has baffled both researchers and laypeople alike. The most accepted explanation is that the ban stems from the belief in the purity of the island. Shinto practices have long held that women, particularly those of childbearing age, are associated with impurity, specifically tied to the concept of menstrual blood. The idea is that a woman's presence could contaminate the sanctity of the island, especially since it is dedicated to the worship of a kami. The taboo surrounding this could be linked to Shintoism's deep-rooted belief in the purity and sanctity of certain spaces. However, the exact origins of the restriction remain somewhat ambiguous and are often surrounded by speculation. Some have suggested that the ban on women may have more practical origins, a concern for their safety due to the treacherous water surrounding the island. Historically, women may have been seen as more vulnerable to the dangers of seafaring, especially in ancient times when maritime voyages were perilous and fraught with risk. The waters near Okinoshima are famously rough and difficult to navigate, and it's possible that the taboo could be rooted in a desire to protect women from those dangers. Only 200 men are allowed to visit Okinoshima every year, and they can do so only on May 27th during a grand Shinto festival, but there's a strict process involved. These men must first undergo a purification ritual called misogi, a process of bathing naked in seawater to purify themselves before they can step onto the sacred island. This ritual emphasizes the spiritual importance of purity, as visitors must be spiritually and physically cleansed before approaching the kami. Once on the island, the visitors are forbidden to speak about their experiences or share details with the outside world. They are also prohibited from carrying anything off the island, including even a single blade of grass. The secrecy surrounding Okinoshima is not just about protecting the sacredness of the site, but also about maintaining a strict adherence to the Shinto rituals. The island is off limits to outsiders, including the media and curious travelers. Even the local fishermen refrain from taking anything from the water surrounding the island, not even a pine branch that might be floating by. This unspoken rule maintains the idea that nothing should be disturbed or taken from the island, keeping its purity intact. In addition to the rituals and customs surrounding the site, Okinoshima has become an increasingly popular focal point in discussions surrounding gender roles in traditional Japanese society. The exclusion of women from sacred spaces is not an isolated incident in Shintoism. Many religious practices in Japan still revolve around the concept of purity and impurity, especially when it comes to women's biological functions. However, Okinoshima's place as a World Heritage Site has brought the taboo into the global spotlight, highlighting the tension between tradition and modern-day questions of gender equality. What makes Okinoshima so significant, besides its prohibition of women, is the treasure trove of artifacts it holds. Over the centuries, the island has been home to thousands of ritual offerings from different parts of the world, including gold rings, beads, and pieces of glass, many of which date back to the 6th century AD. The artifacts found on the island offer a unique glimpse into the historical exchanges between Japan and other cultures, including those in China, Korea, and even Persia. These discoveries underscore the international trade routes that passed through Okinoshima, as well as the important role the island played in the religious practices of ancient Japan. One of the most notable finds on Okinoshima is a set of comma-shaped beads, which are believed to be from Korea. These beads have been identified as ceremonial items, suggesting that Okinoshima was not just a place of worship, but also a site for ritual exchanges between different cultures. The presence of these beads, along with Persian glass and gold rings, indicates that the island was a focal point for ritual offerings from across Asia, signifying the spiritual significance of Okinoshima as a gateway between different cultures. The importance of these artifacts goes beyond their physical beauty or historical value. For Shinto practitioners, the island's artifacts are considered divine relics, each imbued with the spirit of the kami. The accumulation of these items on Okinoshima over centuries reflects the island's enduring sacredness and its role in maintaining the religious and cultural practices of the time. The site is so spiritually important that the Japanese government has chosen to protect it from commercialization, with no plans to open it to the public. For most people, the mystique of Okinoshima and its sacredness would be enough to make it a desirable destination for pilgrimage. However, the island's restrictions have created an air of mystery that only deepens the intrigue. Its UNESCO World Heritage status has brought it to the attention of historians, archaeologists, and cultural enthusiasts around the world. Despite this, Okinoshima's isolation and strict rules have kept it out of the public eye. Visitors are allowed to view the island from a coastal terrace on the north side, where they can pay their respects to the kami from afar, but no one is allowed to step foot on the sacred soil without undergoing the intense purification ritual. This ritual purification is seen by many as a way to protect the sanctity of the island and maintain its sacred aura. As Shinto practices have evolved over the years, Okinoshima remains one of the few places in the world where such strict taboos and customs still exist. The island is not just a religious site, it is a symbol of the deep connection between nature, the divine, and the people who revere it. Okinoshima's strict gender restrictions have sparked debates about gender equality, spiritual practices, and the role of women in religious traditions. As Japan modernizes, there are growing calls to re-examine these traditions and consider more inclusive practices. However, Okinoshima remains steadfast in its adherence to these ancient beliefs, and while the taboo against women may seem out of place in today's world, it is essential to remember that this island is a relic of a time long past, a time when spiritual purity was considered the most important factor in protecting sacred spaces. Despite the growing modernization of Japan, Okinoshima stands as a timeless reminder of the country's ancient roots and the cultural significance of ritual and belief. Shinto practices remain a central part of Japanese culture, and Okinoshima continues to be a place of deep spiritual significance. As we continue to explore the complexities of gender, spirituality, and tradition, the island serves as a powerful symbol of the deep ties that bind us to our past. With no immediate plans to open Okinoshima to the public, the island will likely remain a place of mystery and exclusivity for the foreseeable future. But as curiosity grows and more people learn about this unique World Heritage site, there's a chance that Okinoshima's ancient rituals and taboos will continue to provoke discussion, exploration, and debate for many years to come.